Mushoku Tensei Season 3 is the perfect hook for the audience, but this presentation is focused on the story foundation behind the Perugius and TurningPoint4 arcs. The goal is to prepare viewers without throwing too many names at them at once. The video should feel like a clear bridge from the family and school phase into the larger, hidden conflict around Orsted, the human god, Nanahoshi and Rudius's future. This video should be presented as a Season 3 preparation guide, but the audience needs to know that the Perugius and TurningPoint4 arcs include major light novel spoilers. The first part can work for anime viewers who want context. The later part should be introduced as spoiler-heavy, because it discusses the human god's manipulation, future Rudius, and the turning point that leads directly into the next major conflict. Before talking about Season 3, the audience needs to remember the emotional situation after the teleport labyrinth. Rudius did help rescue Zenith, but Paul died during the mission. Zenith is alive, yet she is not fully herself. Roxy becomes part of Rudius's family, and Sylphie accepts that painful, complicated change. So when the next arcs begin, Rudius is not starting from a clean victory. He is carrying grief, guilt, responsibility, and a family that depends on him. Rudius has changed a lot by this stage. Earlier, he was often reacting to the world around him. Now he has a household, wives, children, sisters, friends, and responsibilities. His research still matters and magic still matters, but his emotional center is now his family. That is why the coming arc is so effective. It does not threaten Rudius as an adventurer. It threatens the home and future he finally managed to build. The household is important because it gives the story emotional weight. Sylphie represents Rudius's first stable home. Roxy represents his old admiration becoming adult partnership. Norn and Aisha show different sides of sibling responsibility. Zenith's condition is a quiet wound in the background. This is why Season 3 is not only about bigger magic and famous characters. It is about whether Rudius can protect a fragile, hard-earned peace. One of the most important setup points is that the story has a hidden war beneath the normal adventure plot. The human god appears friendly because he gives advice in dreams. Orsted appears terrifying because of his first meeting with Rudius. But the truth is more complicated. Season 3 begins turning that background mystery into the main engine of the story. The audience needs to keep both names in mind, because the TurningPoint4 arc completely changes how Rudius sees them. Perugius Dola should be introduced as more than a powerful person in a castle. He is a legendary figure connected to Laplace's war and the history of the world. For the audience, he works like a doorway into the older mythology of Mushoku Tensei. His presence also changes the scale of the story. Rudius and his friends are no longer only dealing with school problems, family problems, or local adventures. They are now standing in front of someone tied to the ancient battles that shaped the world. Chaos Breaker is one of the coolest locations for a Season 3 video, because it is visually simple to explain. It is a floating fortress, a place of old power, and the home of Perugius and his servants. From the outside, this arc begins with excitement. Nanahoshi wants knowledge, Rudius wants answers, and the group is stepping into a place most people could never reach. That sense of wonder is important, because the arc soon turns from magical discovery into a medical and emotional emergency. The audience with Perugius is not just a formal meeting. It is a crossroads. Nanahoshi wants help with summoning and returning home. Ariel hopes to gain political support. Rudius wants answers about Zenith's condition. Others in the group also carry their own questions and insecurities. Perugius's answers do not solve everything, but they widen the world. This is a great slide to explain that the arc is not just about one character. It connects personal problems, politics, ancient war, and magic research. Summoning magic should be explained in simple language. It is not only about calling monsters or creating flashy effects. In Nanahoshi's case, it is tied to the question of how someone from another world can go back. For Rudius, it overlaps with questions about teleportation, the displacement incident, and the strange rules behind reincarnation and transportation. This is why Perugius matters. He has knowledge that normal teachers and ordinary mages do not. Nanahoshi's illness is one of the emotional centers of this arc. She is not simply sick in the normal sense. Her condition is tied to the fact that she is from another world and does not process this world the way Rudius does. This moment is powerful because Nanahoshi is usually controlled, logical, and distant. When she becomes vulnerable, Rudius understands that her dream of going home is not a casual wish. It is a matter of survival and identity. The search for a cure is important because it shows Rudius making a clear moral choice. Nanahoshi is not his wife. his child, or his blood relative. She is a friend and a fellow person displaced by forces beyond her control. Rudius chooses to help her anyway. This makes the arc feel generous and human. It also pulls the group back toward the demon continent, where the tone becomes stranger, rougher, and more dangerous. Kishirika and Adafratov are good examples of how Mushoku Tensei blends comedy and danger. Kishirika can seem ridiculous, but her knowledge is incredibly valuable. Adolf can be funny in personality, but she is also a terrifying fighter. The audience should understand that the demon continent is not just a place of monsters. It is a place where strange rulers, old grudges, and overwhelming power can appear at any time. Eris needs a clear reminder before Season 3 coverage. Some anime viewers may not immediately understand why her return matters so much. While Rudius has been building a home and handling research, Eris has been training with extreme focus. Her emotional drive, sword training, and unresolved connection to Rudius are all moving in parallel to the main story. When the larger conflict starts to tighten, Eris is not a side character. She becomes one of the key forces that can change Rudius's fate. This slide should act as the break before the spoiler section. Turning Point 4 is not a small twist. It changes the audience's understanding of the human god, Rudius's future, and the safety of his family. In the actual video, this is where a strong spoiler warning should appear. Give viewers a chance to leave if they only want the anime-safe preview. Future Rudius is one of the most shocking parts of the story, because he is not an enemy in the normal sense. He is proof of what Rudius can become after losing everything. His message makes the human god's advice terrifying in hindsight. The danger is not only a monster or a battle, it is manipulation, timing, and one small event that can poison the future. This is why Turning Point 4 feels so intense. It turns domestic safety into a battlefield. Before ending the video, summarize the 4 major threads clearly. First, Perugius connects the cast to ancient history and high-level magic. Second, Nanahoshi shows that being from another world is not a simple advantage. Third, Eris is still growing in the background and should not be forgotten. Fourth, Turning Point 4 reveals that the human god's help can be deadly. Once the audience understands those 4 ideas, they are ready for the Season 3 storyline around Perugius and the next major turning point. End by positioning the next video. The strongest follow-up is a full Volume 14 breakdown, because this overview prepares the audience, but does not need to cover every scene in detail. The follow-up video can go deeper into Chaos Breaker, Perugius's questions, Nanahoshi's condition, the Demon Continent search, Kishirika, Atof, Eris, and the full Turning Point 4 consequences. This gives the channel a clean content path. Preview first, detailed story breakdown next.